Welcome to my channel, The Stoic Way. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash the like. It's the first step in truly understanding her mind. And trust me, what I'm about to share will completely change the way you see women. Right now, I want you to imagine this. She sends you a text, a smiley face, or maybe a photo that makes your heart skip. But deep down you feel that unease, that tiny whisper saying, "Why is she showing this to me?" Most men never question it. Most men assume it's special. But here's the truth. You were never told. She's showing it to all the men she can, and you need to see it before it consumes your emotions. I know what it feels like. You've been there staring at your phone, dissecting every word, every pause, replaying that image or message over and over in your mind. You're hoping, praying, telling yourself, "She must like me, she must care about me." But men, that hope is exactly what she's counting on. Women have a radar for attention, and what you feel is intimacy, she feels is validation. That's why she sends these things to you. Not to manipulate in a cruel way, but because she craves the attention, the ego boost, the subtle power that comes from making men chase her emotions. Now you might think, but I'm different. She wouldn't show me that if she didn't care. That's the lie most men tell themselves. The reality is she's testing the waters, not just with you, but with anyone willing to respond, to react, to invest emotionally. And here's the danger. If you respond the way most men do, chasing, analyzing, overthinking, you're giving her exactly what she wants. You're playing her game, and you don't even know the rules. This is where most men crash. They let their ego and desire blur the line between genuine connection and a game of attention. You feel special, unique, important. But in reality, she's sending the same signal to 10, 20, maybe 100 men in subtle ways. And here's the key. The moment you understand this, the moment you see her patterns, your whole perspective shifts. You stop reacting emotionally and start observing logically. You stop chasing and start evaluating. By the end of this video, you'll know the 5 hidden reasons she shows these things to all men. And more importantly, you'll learn how to protect yourself from falling into emotional traps she doesn't even realize she's setting. This isn't just advice. It's the truth most men never want to hear, but desperately need. Let's be honest, most men have no idea what they're walking into. You see, when she shares a story, a photo, or even a fleeting thought with you, it feels personal. It feels like she's letting you into a private world, like she's giving you a key that no one else has. But here's the truth. That key isn't yours alone. It's part of a larger pattern, one that she's often not even aware of. She's showing the same things using the same emotional triggers to multiple men. And each reaction feeds her sense of control, her sense of importance. Men fall for this because our brains are wired for connection. We crave exclusivity. We crave validation. We crave the idea that we are special in someone's life. And when she gives the slightest hint, a small fragment of attention, it lights up your mind like a reward. Dopamine spikes. Your chest tightens. Suddenly, you're invested. And before you even realize it, you're playing a game where the rules are hidden and the prize is often an illusion. Here's what most men fail to see. She doesn't need you to chase her. She doesn't need you to analyze every word, every emoji, every pause. What she actually thrives on is the energy you pour into her signals. She measures her worth not by what she gives you, but by how much you respond. This is why understanding her pattern is crucial. Once you see it, the power shifts. You stop being the puppet and start being the observer. You stop wondering if she likes you and start asking why she needs your reaction at all. And yes, it's uncomfortable. That unease you feel, the pit in your stomach, the frustration is the exact thing she creates without even realizing it. It's subtle, psychological, almost imperceptible. But men who understand this, men who see this pattern, they stop investing blindly. They stop letting hope dictate their actions. They start making decisions based on clarity and strategy, not emotional impulses. By recognizing that she shares the same things with multiple men, you're not becoming cynical. You're becoming aware. You're reclaiming your time, your energy, and your self-respect. And that's why this knowledge is dangerous for the game she's been unconsciously running. It takes you out of the trap she's built and puts you in control of your own emotional responses. Once you truly grasp this, the way you interact with women, the way you view attention, and the way you protect your emotional boundaries will never be the same. And trust me, when you see the 5 hidden reasons behind this behavior, everything you thought you knew about attraction will be challenged, questioned, and redefined. Now, let's get deeper because this is where most men lose their footing without even realizing it. You see, every time she shows you something, whether it's a picture, a story, or a joke, it's not random. It's a signal, a test, and a reflection of her psychology. She's not consciously malicious, but her actions have consequences. And if you don't understand the reasons behind them, you'll keep falling into the same emotional traps over and over, wasting your energy, your focus, and your self-respect. The first reason she does this is attention. Men underestimate the psychological pull of attention for women. Every like, every comment, every private message triggers validation for her. You might feel like she's sharing because she likes you, but in reality, she's feeding her sense of being seen, desired, or admired. And the scary part, she's showing this to multiple men simultaneously. That's not to say she doesn't enjoy your attention. It's that your attention is one of many streams feeding the same ego. The second reason is emotional testing. Humans are wired to respond to subtle cues. Women, often unconsciously, test how men react to certain content. She observes your responses. Do you get jealous, protective, flustered, or eager to please? Each reaction tells her something about your personality, your emotional triggers, and even your insecurities. You feel it in your chest, but she often doesn't even realize she's testing you. Third, she creates options. Showing herself to multiple men isn't about hurting anyone. It's about keeping doors open. She wants to know where her attention lands, who responds most, who values her most. Your heart races because you're part of her option pool, and that very fact gives her a subtle psychological advantage. You might call it unfair, but in reality, it's human behavior, and understanding it gives you control. Fourth, she leverages curiosity. Humans hate uncertainty. Every image, message, or post share creates questions in your mind. Does she like me? Who else sees this? Am I special? That uncertainty keeps your attention locked on her, even when she's sending the same signals to others. Finally, she communicates non-verbally. Beyond words and pictures, there are signals that tap directly into your psychology. Timing of posts, subtle tones, body language, and photos. Men often miss this, reacting emotionally rather than observing logically. Understanding these hidden cues allows you to see the truth. She's not giving herself to you. She's giving a piece of her influence intentionally or not to gauge, test, and observe. Once you recognize these patterns, you start to step back. You stop overanalyzing, stop overinvesting, and begin to protect your emotions. You see the game, and suddenly you're no longer the player. You're the strategist. Here's where most men crash without realizing it. They confuse attention for affection. You've felt it before. The flutter when she sends something unexpected, the excitement when she shares a story or photo. Your mind starts racing, imagining scenarios, hoping for connection. But attention is not affection. Affection requires consistency, vulnerability, and prioritization. Attention can be fleeting, superficial, and given freely to anyone who triggers a response. Understanding this distinction is crucial if you want to navigate her psychology without losing yourself. She knows consciously or unconsciously the power she holds when men confuse attention for something deeper. Every message you send, every reaction you have reinforces that power, and the moment you start chasing her, you're trapped. Most men think they're participating in a romantic dance, but really they're giving energy to a game they don't fully understand. And while she might not even intend to manipulate, the outcome is the same: emotional dependency, distraction, and subtle loss of self-control. The second hidden reason she shares these things is projection. By showing you herself, her thoughts, her photos, her stories, she projects an image she wants men to respond to. but the image rarely reflects the full reality. What she wants isn't always love or connection. Often it's affirmation that she is desired, admired, or envied. She's broadcasting pieces of herself to gauge reactions, to understand her own power, and sometimes simply to entertain the attention she receives. Third is emotional leverage. Men underestimate how much a woman can affect their mental state with small, calculated, or even accidental signals. A smile in a photo, a teasing message, a story shared late at night, they are all triggers. You feel drawn in, compelled to respond. And that emotional pull is exactly why she shares it. Even if it's unconscious, she's influencing your behavior, your thoughts, your emotions without ever asking. Fourth, she's creating comparison. Every man she interacts with represents a measure against others. By showing the same things to multiple men, she sees who reacts with intensity, who gives freely, who invests emotionally, and who holds back. This is subtle, almost invisible. But when you understand it, you see the game clearly. You begin to measure your own reactions against clarity, not desire. Finally, she's testing boundaries. Every shared image, story, or thought probes limits. How much will you care? How much will you chase? And how far will you let yourself fall for something that might not be exclusive? Recognizing this allows you to maintain self-respect, avoid manipulation, and step into emotional control. Once you master this, you see beyond attraction. You see influence, attention, and the unspoken rules that govern her interactions with men. Now, let's uncover the final most subtle reasons she shares these things with multiple men and why understanding them changes everything. The fifth reason is validation. She thrives on it, often without even realizing it. Every reaction, every message, every bit of attention she receives confirms her desirability. It's not about you personally. It's about how you make her feel about herself. Men mistake this for interest or love, but it's a psychological feedback loop. When you realize this, you stop being a pawn in a game you didn't even know existed. Validation drives behavior because it triggers emotional rewards in her brain. Just like you feel pleasure when a woman notices you, she feels the same when men respond to her signals. And here's the catch. She multiplies these signals across multiple men. Your emotional energy is what fuels her sense of self-worth, and most men pour it in without pause. But when you step back and observe rather than react, you reclaim control over your emotions. You no longer feed the unconscious cycle she's running. The sixth and final reason is power dynamics. This is subtle, almost invisible. By sharing herself, her image, her thoughts, her attention, she holds a quiet influence over men. That influence isn't always intentional, but it exists. Each reaction you have, each interpretation you make strengthens her position. The key for you is to recognize it before it controls your behavior. Emotional awareness isn't just self-protection, it's mastery. It allows you to interact without becoming vulnerable to manipulation or false hope. When you understand these 6 hidden reasons, something powerful happens. You stop confusing attention with intimacy. You stop assigning value to signals that are not exclusive. You learn to observe, evaluate, and respond from a place of strategy and self-respect, rather than desire and hope. That's the real power. Emotional clarity. Most men never reach this point because they keep reacting instead of observing. They continue giving their energy to patterns they don't fully see. This knowledge doesn't make you cynical. It makes you aware. It equips you to protect your mind and emotions, to stop chasing illusions, and to finally understand female psychology on a deeper level. Once you grasp this, you see her behaviors for what they truly are. Signals shaped by attention, curiosity, testing, projection, comparison, validation, and subtle power. With that insight, you step into a space where you are no longer manipulated, no longer anxious, and no longer blinded by hope. You begin making decisions consciously instead of reacting unconsciously, and that, my friend, is where true emotional strength begins. Here's the truth most men will never face. Once you understand why she shows the same things to multiple men, everything changes. You no longer live in hope or assumption. You operate from clarity. The final step isn't about punishing her, judging her, or becoming cynical. It's about taking back control of your mind, your emotions, and your energy. Most men never get here because they confuse desire with understanding. They keep reacting to signals, replaying scenarios in their heads, hoping for exclusivity that doesn't exist. But you, if you followed this insight, you see the patterns, and patterns allow mastery. Now, mastery begins with observation. Stop responding emotionally to every post, message, or story. Step back and watch. Notice the repetition. Notice the timing. Notice what triggers you. Every emotional spike is a data point. It's a signal telling you how invested you are, how much you're giving away, and how much power she holds over your emotional state. Observation doesn't mean indifference. It means self-preservation. It means choosing clarity over chaos. Next, establish boundaries. Once you see the pattern, you define your engagement. You decide what deserves your attention, your energy, and your emotional investment. You no longer give freely to signals designed to manipulate or test you. Boundaries aren't walls. They're filters that protect your mental and emotional resources, letting you respond on your terms rather than hers. When men understand this, they stop chasing illusions and start cultivating real connection with women who are truly aligned with them. Then comes detachment. Detachment doesn't mean coldness or withdrawal. It means emotional neutrality. You don't let uncertainty or attention control your thoughts or actions. You recognize signals for what they are, assess their meaning, and act consciously. Detachment frees you from anxiety, frustration, and obsession. It allows you to respond with intelligence rather than reaction. Finally, channel your energy into self-mastery. Women are attracted to men who are grounded, confident, and emotionally independent. When you reclaim your attention, focus on growth, purpose, and strength, you become the man who is no longer influenced by patterns designed to create desire without commitment. You shift from being a player in someone else's game to being the architect of your own life. Remember this: understanding her psychology doesn't make you cynical. It makes you powerful. You stop being reactive and start becoming the observer, the strategist, the man who consciously chooses where to invest his energy and when to walk away. Once you internalize these 6 hidden truths, you no longer fall into the traps of false hope, jealousy, or overanalysis. You act with clarity, confidence, and control. This is the power every man craves, but few ever achieve. And now you have the roadmap. Your attention, your energy, your emotions, they are yours. Protect them, master them, and watch how your interactions and your life transform. Thanks for watching. If you found this video, please press the bell icon and subscribe to my channel, The Stoic Way. Thank you.